Well, thank you so much for dropping by our Lenovo pop-up podcast booth. Would you mind introducing yourself, who you are, and what you do?
Yeah, my name is Amin Tavakoli. I'm the EMEA Managing Director of a mobile business called SCC that operates across Europe. So I look after their digital workplace business across Europe.
Fantastic. I hear you're a partner of Lenovo as well.
We are, yes.
Fantastic. What do you most enjoy about being a partner of Lenovo?
I think the direction and the strategy you're taking around your devices and the hardware, but also more importantly around what you're doing with personalization around, persona identification, the management and tailoring to, the hardware and the device to personas. I think that's quite ahead of the game, so I quite enjoy that.
Fantastic. So what we're going to do is I have a few questions here in my deck of cards. I'm going to shuffle them up
Okay.
for you. And then we'll start with having you pick one. Each of these cards are facts and information pulled from our recent report of the Lenovo Work Reborn research. So let's go ahead and have you pick one. Okay, so the category is big picture and vision. So the Lenovo Work Reborn report mentions that a digital workplace transformation needs more than a technology roadmap. It requires strategic goals. So that's a general, piece of information there. How important is it for companies to connect their transformation efforts to their distinct business identity?
I think at the end of it, a digital workplace is about employee productivity, and productivity goals need to be aligned with the organizational measures, a strategy longer term, right? So when you think about productivity, then technology plays a part in it, but how actually employees are using the technology towards being more productive in alignment with the business objectives, that's the whole thing. So I think technology comes from the business drivers. You identify what the problem and statement is for your business, then you translate it into what that means to the different employee and persona groups, and then you tailor the technology to align to that. So yeah, I think technology is an enabler, but you really need to focus on the business outcomes and then tailor the technology to support that vision.
From your general experience, is there a company or organization that you've worked with do this well, that you've seen do well, where they were able to, link their strategy and their roadmap to their distinct business identity?
So a lot of knowledge worker industries, they're quite good at it. So financial services,
Yeah.
professional services, legal, insurance. And it's primarily because of the population, the productivity measures are a bit better defined, and they have direct link between the business outcomes and how the time of employees are well spent towards those objectives. For those reasons, I think traditionally knowledge worker industries have been ahead. And I think in the past few years, we have seen a trend around frontline workers also, because a lot of the frontline workers, if they are not achieving what their objectives are, then it could have a very high impact. Think about an ambulance worker
Yes.
or a fire worker, right? So it's a very high impact, to the business and to the community potentially if they are not productive within the context of their role. So yeah, I think knowledge workers and frontline, I would say, are the customers who've done it well, or the persona groups that have done it well.
That's a great example. Thank you for sharing that with me. Would you like to do another card pull?
Yeah, sure.
All right.
I'll pick this one.
Okay.
Here you go.
Let's see. The topic is change management, complexity, and skills. So, in our report, the research says that lack of skills training can slow down transformation. How can organizations better prepare employees to thrive in AI-powered workplaces?
Yeah, it's a good question. So I think change management and adoption for many years, I think in digital workplace has been downplayed a bit. If you think about 20 years back, a lot of technologies that was made available to the employees, companies were relying on IT making those decisions, then put it out there with some guidance from IT. Wasn't business driven really. And then the hope was the employee is going to organically use it in the right way and
Yes.
find their way around it.
They would
We've
just
seen-
figure it out.
yeah, yeah. And we have seen many examples of that in the enterprise or corporate social platforms. They provided actually change and adoption planning and the right training, and they were more prescriptive around what they expect different user groups to focus on and how they can actually define those use cases for them and train them accordingly. They have been the ones that were successful. We had examples of intranet platforms. It was made as a homepage to the organization, didn't work. You know, you usually have the interest and curiosity going up, and then after a month it drops down. And it's because, again, it wasn't tailored based on use cases, and the adoption and change wasn't there. So I think same applies to AI. I think AI is another tool in the toolbox for the employees, and you can throw it out there to see that what they do with it. Sometimes it works, but if you have a framework around it, that is to then identify who's doing it well and then bring it into the champion group and then try to leverage that and scale it, that works. But if you just put it out there, some people who are more digital native and they are more switched on around it and they have more ambition around it, they might find their way around, but it's not going to be scalable at the organizational level.
That's a very key point, that it's not going to be scalable. And at the end of the day, like, that's what's needed, right? In order to make change, drive transformation, and,
Yes.
and get closer to those outcomes. What's one small way that or mindset someone needs to have when they're trying to consider scaling?
I think the starting point should be, and again in some of the sessions today was brought up, and I think it's a very important point, is to understand what problem we are trying to solve and for whom and how it's going to impact actually. So defining the success criteria based on the persona groups aligned with the corporate objectives, that's the key thing. So I think if you approach it from the business problem you're trying to solve and then provide everything that you're doing around it, as in empowerment, skilling up the employees and managing that change, including the change fatigue and the resistance and all that. But within the frame of you're trying to solve a certain business problem that we have identified the solution for, and then also being very cautious about it. That is, you have to have that continuous feedback loop. That is, if it's not working, take it back to the whiteboard and just understand what's not working and iterate. I think that iteration, culture of iteration, is quite important based on the feedback loops.
Well, this has been a really insightful conversation. Thank you so much for joining us at our
I enjoyed
London
it.
Work Reborn live podcast session. If you are interested in learning more about the report, or anyone else is interested, make sure you check out the link to it in the description below and subscribe to Lenovo Work Reborn Live to hear more insightful conversations on how we're bringing new life to the modern workplace. Thank you so much. It was a pleasure.
Thank you.